We got names from our parents, from our relatives, from our aunties, our uncles. We got names from the public. We got names from our fans. We got names from wherever it comes from. But God has a specific name for you. You know, sometimes I wonder how God calls us. Does He call you John? Does He call you Moses? I wonder how He calls us. And sometimes I think about how it will be in heaven. How many Moseses will be in heaven? How many Matthews will be in heaven? How many Johns will be in heaven? Thousands, possibly millions of them. And I wonder how God is going to call them by name, by that name that they had on earth. I want to believe something else, that our minds are not as the mind of God. God knows us beyond our name. God has a specific identity, something specific where He knows that this is so and so. Beyond our names, there is an identity that God has placed onto us. Beyond our expressions, beyond what we do. Your identity is beyond your name. It's beyond what people call you. It's beyond what people say about you. Your identity is beyond what your peers tell you, what the bullies tell you. It's beyond what your parents call you. It's beyond that negative word that has been spoken upon you. Your identity comes from God, and it's in God. It comes from the one who created you. He knows you beyond your name. He knows you beyond what people call you. You know, when Jesus Christ was faced with such a situation, He asked His disciples, "Who do you people say I am?" You know, as I mentioned earlier, the world can call you names. The world can give you names. The world can give you identities. It can. And as a matter of fact, many of us are living in identities that are totally different from what God identifies us with. Totally different. So Jesus comes in such a situation where people are calling Him whatever they want. His disciples also have a different perception of who He is. He pauses a little bit and says, we need to sort this out. In Matthew chapter 16, verse 13, Matthew 16, verse 13, Matthew chapter 16, verse 13, when Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, He asked His disciples, saying, "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, I am?" Who do men say? What does the world say? What do the people say? What do these followers say? Who do men say that I am? So they said, some say John the Baptist, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Yes, the people are saying whatever they are saying. What about you? So there are levels of nomenclature, or there are levels of identification. The people are saying something. But Jesus went beyond that and said, okay, they say that. What about you? So people can say something about you. They can identify you into something. They can have an identity of who you are. And your parents might have another identity of who you are. It may be different. So Jesus Christ goes ahead and asks the disciples also. Then He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered and said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." People are saying something different. The disciples are also saying something different. But there is something significant here that I think we should understand. That in verse 17, Jesus answered and said to him, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven." I love that. But my Father who is in heaven. You know, Jesus tells Simon Peter, it's not what you think. It's not what you say. It's not what the identity you give me. It's not about what was in your mind. It's beyond what you would have said. But this has not been revealed to you by flesh and blood. It's not by what you see, not by what people say, not by what you know as a person. But it has been revealed to you by my Father who is in heaven. It goes back to the Creator, to the one who knows it all. So your identity goes beyond the people, beyond your parents, beyond what your fans say, beyond what your peers say. Your identity is beyond that. It falls back to the Creator. In Jesus' time, who wouldn't want to know Jesus? Who wouldn't want to find out who exactly He was? But they could not. They failed until God Himself revealed Jesus. So there is a very big thing that we need to do. We need to find out what God speaks of us. We need to find out the identity that we have in God. We need to find out who has the true identity of our lives, of our being. It goes back to the Creator. Jesus speaks it here clearly. It's not by what people say, not by what is in the mind of Simon Peter. No. This has not been revealed to you by flesh and blood. No. It's the Father. It's the Father who knows. It's God who knows you. It's God who created you. It's God with that true identity of yours. He knows you by name, not by the name that your peers call you, not by the name that your parents gave you. He knows you by the name that He created you and gave you. He knows you. I don't know God's nomenclature, but I believe He has a nomenclature, a naming system where He identifies, where He knows, where He knows I'm speaking to so and so. I don't know whether it's coded, but one thing I know, that He knows you. You know, you may be saying, what about my name? What about my... But look here. Does God know babies before they are born? Does God know babies before they get names? Does He know them before they get those beautiful names? I believe He does. He has an identity for that child even before she gets a name. That's why I'm totally against abortion. God knows the moment there is creation, there is purpose, identity installed. God knows the babies. He knows them even before they come out of their mother's womb.